Welcome to Fitting It Under the Hood. I'm Nicola, founder of Hair Made Easy. We've got a great episode for you today. We're joined by Charlotte Hickey, founder of North Hair Extensions. We're going to talk about her journey as a salon owner, building a brand, becoming a leading educator, and becoming a mum of 3. Charlotte's journey is nothing short of inspiring, so let's get into it. We're going to start with some quickfire questions.
Yeah.
So just to warm things up a little bit, just to find out a little bit more about you. So your first one is, who is your inspiration within the industry?
So there's lots of people that I aspire to on Instagram, like really good colorist. I think there's loads of people out there that you can look at on Instagram now and be even like people that don't have a big following that inspire you with their creative work.
Yeah.
However, I've got one of my biggest inspiration is a guy that now coaches me. So he's my business coach for the salon, and he's called Cameron. And the reason he's my biggest inspiration is he runs a really successful business, and he's now teaching me how to do the same. So he's freeing up my time so I can spend less time behind the chair creating the hair, so I can focus more on the numbers and basically employ more people to be bigger, more successful. So
Yeah.
I'm not focusing on the doing of the hair all the time.
Yeah.
And then I can focus on my second business, which is North Professional Hair.
Love that. It's amazing. So what's he actually called? What's his Instagram?
So his Instagram is Dermody Coaching.
Okay.
His salon is called Naresh, so he runs a really successful salon down in Taunton.
Right, okay.
He now actually educates for us as well for North.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
I
So
love
I
that.
connected. I've got in touch with him and connected with him because he was buying our hair.
Right.
And I was like, "Who's this that's buying all this hair? Like, he must be amazing." And that's how we got involved with
Right,
each other.
okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to have a look at him.
Yes,
Love
you'll
that.
have to invite him down for your next one.
So what do you do on your days off?
So, I mean, what is a day off when you've got 2 businesses? But no, I do try and take some time off now, especially since I've had the baby. So obviously I've got 3 children, one of them being 6 months old. So at the minute I'm working 4 days a week. So I'm off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On a Friday I do reformer Pilates with the baby classes, try and make it for him really, spend some
Yeah.
time with him. Saturday, dance and drama, run, football. So generally being a mum. Always go out for a nice walk on a Saturday, and then Sunday we always go out for Sunday dinner. So try new places all the time, and that's just like our family time really. So not really much for myself, but my goal this year was to do a little bit more for me, especially now like the baby's getting easier and things are calming down a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's your favourite Hair Made Easy tool?
Super easy to answer this one. Obviously, the hair extension rack. I just think if anyone is fitting hair extensions and they've not got a tool to store them or organise them, their life must be hell. So when I'm teaching tape hair extensions, everyone always buys the rack after the course because, yeah, you can't live without it, really.
Brilliant. That's brilliant feedback. And what's your favourite extension brand? This is quite an easy one as well, isn't it? I
Easy
wonder
for
what that
me,
could
but
be.
yeah, North Professional Hair, obviously I'm a big advocate for my own brand, although we only specialise in tape hair extensions, but that's where my passion lies, in the hair extension world.
Yeah, okay, love it. So what styling products could you not live without?
So again, this is really easy. Kevin Murphy, Young Again Oil. It's my true hero because you can use it on extensions, you can use it on normal hair, even the finest of hair. It's got your heat protector in there. It's just really glossy, really shiny. Like, it's my hero product. And I think any form of hair oil, everyone should just have it in the drawer and should be using one.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Yeah, definitely. So should we get cracking?
Yes.
Let's get into it now, shall we? Let's get some, let's go with the proper questions done. So I want you to tell us all about your journey. Where did it all start? Where did your hairdressing journey start?
Yeah, so I was 14 years old and I got a Saturday job in a local salon. I didn't absolutely love hair. I literally did it for the £20, the £20 a day that I got. I loved saving up that £20 and going shopping, spending it. So I was doing that from 14. By the time I got to 16 and I was leaving school, I loved animals at the time. So I actually wanted to be a mountain policewoman because I loved horses or a vet. But my boss, because I'd already been there for 2 years, she was like, would you really not consider like being my apprentice? So she'd like newly opened her salon 2 years before and wanted to start growing her team. And I thought, do you know what? Like, yeah, I want the money. I was really motivated by earning money. So I did an apprentice with her. I won Apprentice of the Year. I was a bit of a
wow.
geek. I loved everything about it. I loved everything
Brilliant.
about it. And then moving forward, just quickly, like all of my staff that I've been apprentices have won that award also.
Oh,
moving forward,
really?
yeah, which is really good. So yeah, I was an apprentice, and then I quickly built up a column. So running a full column before I was qualified. My boss actually went off on maternity leave, so everyone kind of came in my column. It really helped me out. Then when she came back and she was resettled in the salon, I just always aspired to like travel and do more. Like I always wanted more all the time. So I got a job on a cruise ship around Australia. So I left the country for a year, travelled like New Zealand, Australia, Fiji, like all the South Pacific.
How old were you?
19. I was 19 when I did
brave.
that. So yeah, I was a baby. Absolutely loved it. So I came back. I was going to go back to the salon where I worked. But my mum had moved areas, so we was originally from Prestwich and my mum had moved to Swinton, and the salon where I originally worked was in Whitefield, so it was a bit of a travel thing, and I thought I'm going to just look for a job locally, and I seen an advert for a salon manager, and I was only 20, but I was always hungry for more, so I thought I'm not going to go back to that salon. I want more, so I applied for that job and I got it. So I was a salon manager at the age of 20. Which was amazing. And I learned so much on the cruise ship about management and figures and all of that side of stuff, like business side. It was all target led, so I really implemented that into that business. Long story short, I'd been with my husband now since we was at school. So we stayed together while I was traveling and stuff, and when I came back, and then I got pregnant at the age of 21.
Right.
So that management job ended not very well when I announced that news to her. So then I found myself without a job. So that was like a little bit of a downer in my career, because I've always been like, from being so young, like wanted more, and then all of a sudden I'm having a baby, I'm 21 and I've got no job. So like you do your friend's hair and your family hair, and that was all fine. So I was doing like earning a little bit of extra cash doing that. And I'm thinking, who's going to employ me now? No one's going to employ me. However, one of the girls that worked at the other salon had opened a beautician. And she had a chair and a mirror and needed a hairstylist. And she said, are you still not working? And I've got this chair if you want to come and work here. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. You know, I was hungry for it.
Perfect timing as well.
Perfect timing. So I worked there, and she was a really busy beautician. So a lot of her clients was just like, she was just filling my column. And that was my first introduction to being self-employed. Right. I'd never heard of that or, you know, gone into that market, but that was just my only opportunity for income at that point.
And how old were you then?
So I was 21.
Right.
I was probably 20. I was 21 by the time I had Jacob. So yeah, I was working there right up until I gave birth, because before I knew it, I was fully booked. I was working every day. I was earning money like that I'd not earned before. I was like loving it. Had the baby, went back to work after 6 weeks, because you've got no option then, have you? You know, like
you've got to bring your money back in.
I've got to bring the money back in, and because I'd been travelling the year before, I weren't entitled to anything. So I couldn't stay at home. Like the government wasn't giving me any money, like because I'd been out the country. So I had to go and provide for my child, basically. So my mum's amazing. She helped me out, and obviously my husband was amazing. We worked it between us. So yeah, I was there for a few years, built up a big clientele, and I'd always dreamed to have my own salon. Like my first boss used to say, oh, you could take this salon one day. Like it was always what I aspired to. And a salon came up for rent on like further down the road from where I was renting a chair from. And I thought, I'm just going to do it. And I'd saved up £7,000, which isn't a lot of money. So this is 10 years ago. Yeah. So it was, you know, well, probably a bit longer than 10 years ago now. And my mum and dad were like, oh my God, don't do it. How are you going to do that? You know, I was 22. I was a baby. And I was like, no, I'm doing it. So my dad helped me like renovate the place. I bought everything secondhand. So another salon had shut down, and they had like everything stored in a container. So I paid her, I think, £6,000 for all the stuff. Just plonked that in this building. The only thing I bought brand new was my sign, which I was really proud of. I think it cost me like £500. And then the brand Kevin Murphy I'd worked with in my first salon, always loved it. and I really wanted Kevin Murphy in my salon, but it was a really high-end premium brand. Reached out to the rep. She obviously knew me from a few years back at my first salon, and I think the opening order was £2,000. Well, I'd done my whole salon for £7,000, so £2,000 was like a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm thinking, I really want it, so I just overdrafted my bank and got Kevin Murphy in. So I had like this salon with everything secondhand, but like this premium product range, and I had a launch night. And so many people turned up, and I just remember standing there looking, thinking, this is going to work. This is actually, look at all these people here for me. It's actually going to be amazing. So look, like, long story short, like, that was that. Took on an apprentice because I got busy. Took on my sister-in-law. My friend Kim that I worked with in my first salon, she came and worked for me. So just built a team, really, which I never aspired to do. I never aspired to be a boss.
Yeah.
And it just naturally happened. And
so how many chairs did you have?
So we had 7 chairs in that salon.
Right. It's quite a big salon as well.
Yeah,
for your first
it was
salon.
it was a tiny space. I think I opened with 4 chairs, and then we had to just keep like rejigging it to make it work. And yeah, word of mouth, like, we've just got a really good reputation, which is really valuable in the industry. So we just built a really big clientele. And then I was starting to look after some celebrity clients and things like that. So the salon was no longer serving our kind of image, if that makes sense. So Instagram was like building up, and we were just getting a bit more recognised. I started working with brands. So I started going to like London Fashion Show. I went to Prague Fashion Show. I started working a lot with like Kevin Murphy as like a brand ambassador. I started to do shows at Salon International. So it was just all evolving and getting bigger and bigger. And I wanted my dream salon. So that was my next goal. And in the process of all that, I had another child, which is Anna. She's now 6. So employing staff allowed me to do that. I had such a great team. Although, again, I think she was like 12 weeks old when I went back to work. And then
And did you employ everybody?
Yes. Yeah. So Kim, my stylist that's still with me now, she came with me first and rented a chair. But after COVID, she came into employment. So she was the only person I rented a chair to. And like, I filled her up, and which I was, buzzing for her and stuff.
Yeah.
But I realised that wasn't the right way to be successful for me. I needed to employ people that could work for me and help build the business. So I said to my accountant, we need a new space. I was looking for buildings, and the rental income was just so much. Like, my little salon was so cheap, like, to run. Right. It was so small, and it was obviously in like a little bit more of like an area that wasn't like high street, so everything was a little bit cheaper. So when I'm looking at these other places, there were thousands for rent, and I'm thinking, how can I afford that? Like, what do I need to do to get there? And then my accountant was like, why don't you buy a building? And I was like, how can I buy a building? I can't buy a building. It's like
scary stuff as well, isn't
and
it?
he was just like, yeah, you can. Like, you've got a profitable business. Like, you can buy a building, you can get a mortgage and buy a building. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. And that's what I did. So I bought a building. Wow. Which is where we are now. We renovated that, which it didn't come easy. I hate people to look and think, oh, you've got this amazing salon, this amazing building, and it was like handed to you. It was a piece of cake. It really was not. It was the most hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life, to the point where I would never renovate a house. Like, I would never renovate anything ever again. But we got there in the end, and
people don't see the hard work though, do they?
And do you know what? I actually did have a mental breakdown during that process. It was so tough. Really? The financial pressure that came with it, and We'd had the salon designed, and we'd had a budget for it, which we'd remortgaged our house for, our home. And I thought I could achieve that salon with that budget, but I absolutely could not. So that budget was spent in the knocking down of the walls. Oh, wow. So we had an empty shell, and we had a real dodgy builder as well that we lost a lot of money to. So that was like another breakdown that happened. So we had an empty shell and no money left. And it took 1.5 years to get the salon where it is now. But yeah, a lot of business loans and help from family and friends, and trying to do bits and bobs yourself. We got there in the end. Yeah. And now it's amazing. So when that opened, so we've been open in the new salon 1.5 years. I obviously wanted another child, so I got pregnant, stupid. You just do it all, don't you, all at once. And I started working with Cameron, my business coach, because I thought I now need a team that can run this place, and I do less of the hair and work more on being a successful business, because you're so busy behind the chair.
Yeah.
You're so busy doing the hair and pleasing your customers. You don't look at the numbers and you think you're earning money, but actually when you add everything up and you finally sit down, it's like, do you actually make any real profit, or are we just working to break even here?
Yeah.
And that was the side of business I've never understood, because I've just always been so creative.
Yeah.
And I've been working with Cameron now a year, and he's took my business to the next level, and that's without me slogging my guts out. Do you know what I mean? So we
all aspire to that, don't we? We all aspire to get into that stage where the business is running itself.
Yeah. And it still needs me, and I love doing the hair. So I'm 2 days a week now behind the chair. Obviously the baby's 6 months old. I do 2 days for North Professional Hair, which we can go into as well, how all that evolved. And then at home I'm working with mentors, business coaches, and I'm just trying to stay accountable for the running of the business, because I wasn't accountable before. I just didn't care about it.
You're just in it and doing it. And you don't tend to think about all of the important stuff until it really matters.
Yeah.
But you've got there and you've sorted all that out now.
And I think I'm enjoying the numbers now as well. I want to know that we are doing all right, you know. And it's when this whole budget thing was announced in April and everyone's freaking out, Cameron, my business coach, is it's nothing to worry about. If your numbers are right,
you'll be fine.
You'll be fine. Yeah. You just got to put your numbers right. And I was everyone's terrified of price increases and things like that. But he's really good at saying, look at your salon, look at your skill. Your rebook rate is, 88%. It's people will pay for you. And if they won't, then you're bringing in new business all the time through the way you're marketing yourself on Instagram. And your circle is absolutely fine. Your numbers have got to be right, or what you're doing it for. So
I think we all want a Cameron in our life.
We all need Cameron. It's amazing.
You'll have to give me his number later. We'll have a chat.
It's amazing.
So how did COVID hit? How did that affect the business and the growth and where you were at?
Do you know what? With COVID, I actually loved it. I know that sounds really, really bad, but I've never had time to be a mum. So it was just so nice to be at home with the kids and just be able to be a mum. And that gave me the opportunity to focus on North Professional Hair, because we launched that just as COVID hit. And I think we were actually really well supported in my salon at the time was in Salford by the government, and with furlough with the staff and stuff. So although we couldn't work and we couldn't earn money, the support that we got was actually enough, because I say, my business at the time, it was so small, it was cheap to run. Does that make sense? So if I had COVID in my salon now, I would probably be screwed, because I've got business loans, my overheads are expensive, I've got 8 employees. It would be a different picture. So I think it hit everybody different. So although it was it affected your ability, your skill, your mental health, going to work, I actually really valued that time to be a mum, because I'm always 100 miles an hour.
Precious memories made.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah.
So when we think about hair extensions, when did you get into that? When did tapes become a thing for you?
Yeah, so when I was renting a chair in that first salon, I thought, I'm going to do a hair extension course. People were asking me, do you do hair extensions? And I've always been a bit of an all-rounder as a hairdresser. I love everything. I do bridal, big colour jobs, things like that. So I went on a course of hair extensions. And actually, my first client had a bob and had a full head of individual micro rings and wanted 20-inch hair. Who does that for the first client? And I remember it took me about 6 hours. And I was thinking, this isn't for me. But I carried on going. And I just fell in love with hair extensions. And then one of my customers, so at the time I'd do bonds, micro rings and weaves. Tapes weren't a thing then. One of my customers actually went to America with a weave in her hair. And when she returned, she had tapes. And she's like, oh, I went to a salon for a blow dry and they put these tapes in my hair. And I was thinking, what are these? And then I was thinking, I hate these. How do we even get them out? How do we refit them? So that was me, trial and error for 12 months, really. everything you see on TikTok now, like baby oil, talcum, all them hacks, like I had trialed all of that before tapes had even hit the UK.
Right.
And then we sussed it. So I remember saying to that client, I will never, ever, ever do these for anybody if they come to the UK. And now here I am selling tape hair extensions to hundreds of salons. And yeah, I just found the right way. So I think it was just really important to find the right products to assist you.
Yeah.
And learn the right education, putting your skills to knowledge and finding the right way. So once I fell in love with tape hair extensions, which was probably now about 8 years ago, I stopped doing all offer methods. Okay. So in the salon, we don't offer the bonds or the micro rings. We've got like 3 clients left on a weft, and that's because it suits them because they want long, thick hair.
Yeah.
And for me, tapes, like we found a new niche with our more mature clients for like hair loss, hair thinning, just a way to give people their confidence back. And I think that's why I fell in love with tape hair extensions, because that was the right route for me.
So the industry is so competitive. Instagram is so difficult because you've got to be able to navigate everything. You've got to be every type of professional and expert in all areas. How do you get you and your hair brand to stand out from all the others that are out there?
Yeah, I think it's just being organic with who you are, really. So with North Professional Hair, we don't have plastic packaging. So that was the first thing for me. I used to order my clients' hair and I used to unpack it in the staff room and just come out with the goods and you'd be like, there's your hair. Yeah. So I wanted this experience for my clients to be able to unbox the hair. Like, it's an expensive investment. Yeah. They've purchased that hundreds of pounds of hair, depending, how much they're having fitted. So I really wanted them to experience that. So I feel like our packaging is...
And you smashed it.
Yeah, the packaging
so stunning, your packaging. I love it.
Well, that was just a big thing for me. And when I'm teaching hair extensions, I say to my trainees, hand the client their goods, like hand them the hair, let them unbox it, let them feel it, let them touch it. Like, it's a journey, it's an experience of product buying. So yeah, that was like probably one thing that stood out for us. And then education. So you've got me, who is using hair extensions all day, every day in the salon. There's always going to be problems with hair extensions. There's always going to be a problem with hair colour. There's always going to be problems in the industry. Yeah. And I'm kind of seeing and solving them problems up front with my girls and my team. So just to have me at hand to be able to pass on the education, the ongoing knowledge that I'm learning every single day, I think is like a real niche of ours.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to be able to have that sort of experience on a day-to-day, to then be able to send that back to your manufacturers and say, look, we're having this issue, or this colour's not quite holding the way we want it to hold, or this blonde's changing after a few washes. You've got that in salon experience to be able to send that back to your factories then, haven't you, as well? Yeah,
and I feel like as well, the education around hair extension has changed massively. So if we just go into colour fade on hair extensions slightly, everyone always had this perception that you buy a pack of hair extensions, no matter what it is, what method, and the hair extensions are going to last 9 to 12 months. That's like average for most brands. Yeah. People think that the colour's going to last 9 to 12 months as well, but this is human hair, and our hair colour doesn't last 9 to 12 months.
Exactly.
So it's all in the education of that. And I think if you gear your clients up beforehand, like they know what they're signing up for. So during my consultation, and I teach this as well, I tell them, the yearly spend, you come in every 8 weeks and this is how much it's going to be. Can you commit to that? Then after, 2 or 3 fittings, there's going to be colour maintenance on the hair extensions, because they won't be the same colour as your hair now. And this is the price of that. So I think it's just about being open and honest. Added service. So all colour fade with extensions it's a natural product, and it's going to happen. Don't be afraid to re-gloss them. You don't change the colour of them, but you just re-enhance them. And we've got such good colour lines now with glossing, and we've not got like really dark, dense colours anymore. We've got creativity, and we've got skill, and we've got tools like you make, like the colouring sheets, where you can just do this so quick and easy, and you can charge for for it, and then you're making more profit.
Yeah.
So it's just all about in the education. And I think if you're honest with that cost with your client, you're not having complaints, and then the brands aren't having complaints about colour fade because everyone's educated correctly.
Absolutely. And you know, so many people don't do that. I think so many people are afraid of what the client's going to say, and they're going to lose that client because they're not going to be happy with the costings of that further down the line. So they'll sort of hide that a little bit. So, you know, I think it's really important that you are that transparent with your clients, and you do let them know exactly what's going on and what to expect, for especially if they're new to extensions.
Yeah, and I think it depends on like your client, your target audience as well. So like a lot of my clients, you know, are more mature women, like with well-paid jobs, like they can afford the service.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Some people might have a clientele of a lot younger girls that want long, thick, glamour hair, that you know, their wages are a lot lower. They're putting the hair in. They might be pushing the refits, like cancelling another month, and it's hanging out the head because they can't afford the service. But they're not the right type of clients for extensions. And I think you've got to really value hair health as well. So if I have a consultation with someone that can't afford the commitment, like I will really talk them into maybe more of a clip-in for a weekend or something like that, because hair health is the main priority with any hair extensions, and if they are fitted and looked after correctly, then they're perfect for anyone to wear.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're in, you know, in the salon, and you touched on working with some celebrities, how important are those collaborations for you as a business owner?
So I really don't want to knock it, because when I was doing that and I was doing it for free and stuff, it really did help build my profile and build my Instagram and generate new customers. However, that was almost 10 years ago when Instagram was very new, and it was great. I think now it's so saturated, and I think now we have to value ourselves more and value our time more. So I don't say no to collaborations, but it's got to be a two-way thing. You know, doing free hair for a celebrity, I will not offer anymore. I look after many of like the footballers' wives in my salon. They all pay full price for their colour work. And that's just valuing myself more. Now I'm at a stage where my time is actually really valuable. But like to the younger generation, if that's what they see is going to get them where they want to be, then I'm not saying don't do it, but I do feel like we shouldn't be working for free. No one should be working for free. We should all be charging something or covering your costs. Or, you know, if you're gaining something out of it, then absolutely collab. But I don't think anyone should just be selling their soul for nothing. Like, it's such a hard industry out there now. And I think a lot of people think that's the only way to get to the top, but there is no top. It's your lane. It's what's successful for you.
So how did you come to launching your own hair extension range? I mean, it's quite a big thing to do, that, Charlotte.
Yeah, it is a really big thing to do. It happened really organically. So my business partner, Gary, has another company, Stranded Hair Extensions, which is a synthetic and human hair clipping range. And I was doing his wife, the founder's hair in the salon. So we'd built up a really good relationship over the years. We used to talk about hair extensions all the time. I then started doing hair for them on their photo shoots. So we just had a really good relationship, and he wanted to launch a professional range. And I was like, yeah, oh my God, do it. And I had this like new niche to the market of, you know, tape hair extensions for fine hair and enhancements, rather than like the saturated market of long, thick glamour. Just feel like no brand was offering that niche and that imagery. I felt like my customers couldn't come to me and ask for a solution for their menopause hair or, you know, their naturally thin hair, because the advertisement of the hair extension industry was so fake. And I was like, there's such a gap in the market for this, and tape hair extensions are going to lead the way with it. So that's how we ended up launching a professional hair extension brand, and that's how we found our niche with tape hair extensions and our imagery.
Wow. Okay. So take me on the journey. What happened first?
So obviously Gary's got really great connections in the industry with the purchasing side. So he kind of sourced the product, and then we've obviously got my salon where we can test it. We switched everybody out from our current brand that we was using, and we fitted what became North Professional Hair. We ran that production and that testing for over a year. We've obviously got my inside knowledge of quality, skill, colour, blending, the weight of the hair, like even in terms of, so we sell our hair in 40-gram packs, and I just believe that's like a nice healthy weight for the hair.
Yeah.
So each tape sandwich weighs 4 grams. So yeah, we just had so much knowledge between the two of us, like him being the business side and having the connections, and me actually like living and eating what our end clients are going to be doing as well. So we just was like a real good power team.
Perfect partnership, really.
Perfect partnership. And we both actually invested £350 into the business to launch. So that was like for a domain on the website and to build our logo, and that was it. And you know, we've just grew it from there. I think what a lot of people don't realise as well, you think, oh, you launch a brand and you're going to earn loads of money and you're going to take money. Like, we haven't took a pound from the business. So it's been 5 years and we've just fully invested everything back in to help grow it and just get it to a place where we want it to be, really, to be successful.
And you're lucky enough to be able to do that because you've got your income's coming from the salon, his is coming from his other range. Yeah. So you've got that. We were in exactly the same boat at Hair Made Easy. I didn't take anything out for years. Worked day and night, 18-hour days sometimes, and that's just what you do as a brand owner, isn't it? Moving forward, that's the only way of doing it. And all the money that came in went straight back out again. So, what was your next step? So you've got your website, you've got your logo. Where'd you go from there?
Yeah, so from there, we obviously created the cardboard packaging, which was like a brown cardboard box at first, and I thought they were amazing. And after like a bit of momentum was building, we then changed the brand into a bit more of a navy box with a gold logo. And we thought they were incredible. And then when I was designing my salon, I was like, I can't have this navy packaging in my salon. It's not going to sit nice on the shelf. So we just realised like the whole look and aesthetic of the brand wasn't going to sit in like everyone's salon. And I was wanting to create a brand where people could put it on the shelf, where people would sell it as a product. Because with other brands that come in plastic packaging, you can't do that and it looks terrible. So hence the cream pots with the gold logo. And it just really evolved really nice that we wanted people to be proud to display it. And so that's where it got to with the kind of the brand image, and I feel like we've really nailed our brand image now in terms of packaging and the quality. We nailed that from the beginning with the skill and the connections that we have, and we've just been really focusing on our colours because we've got my knowledge and my skill to create amazing colours. And so we've got a range called the Root Glaze range, and that mimics our trending colours in salon, like your balayage and your Hollywood colour blends and, you know, creative blonde colours and stuff. So that range is quite small. We've got about 8 colours in that range, and that's all we're focusing on growing because that is what people are delivering day to day. So we've got the standard colours that suit a lot of your clientele, but a lot of the trending colours and stuff, that's where we want to build a great reputation for.
And I know it takes you a long time to sort out your colours, doesn't it? There's a lot of backwards and forwards.
I am so particular. Sometimes Gary will be like, no, it looks great there. And I can pick out an undertone, you know, no, it's too khaki, that undertone, or the depth just isn't right by a millimetre, a tiny, tiny bit, and sending them back and forth. But I would just rather them launch and be perfect than launch and need tweaking, because what happens with consistency is if you don't perfect a colour from the beginning and then you start working on these small things, the person that bought it 6 months before it was perfection, and then having a problem with it not matching their client's hair that they originally sourced it for, or not matching the colouring. So consistency in colour and quality is so key. And we have a real strong quality check control at North Hair, where, you know, our factory has a copy of every single colour that they've got to match it to before they send it to us. Then we double check that match with our copy of our quality. And that's just for like repetitive orders from what we're buying our stock in. But when we're developing a new product, I am literally like back and forth. It's too pano, the route's too low down. So it really has to be perfect because that's just my craft.
Yeah. I remember when you first started and I offered to start putting little sample pots. Do you remember those sample pots that you did? And again, they were cardboard and they were really cute. And we sent them out with all our orders. How did that help? Did that help you get more customer base through?
Absolutely. Like just people like yourself supporting us has been an amazing part of our journey. Just popping them little samples in the orders, it generated our client base, and the rest has just been built through word of mouth. And, you know, I've got like lots of my reps that come to the salon. I'm so lucky that they choose me to do the hair. So, you know, whether my reps work for Weller, Kevin Murphy, like all these big brands that I stock in my salon, I'm so lucky that like I'm colouring the hair and they're having hair extensions done by me. And then they're a walking advert. So then they're going to, you know, visiting 10, 20 salons a week, and the hair looks amazing. And people are going to ask, oh, like, you know, your hair's so nice. And then they recommend North. So it's just been such a great collaboration working with brands and just people in the industry that are helping support us, which like we're so grateful for. Like even the likes of you having us here today on this podcast is just amazing.
Oh, I love it. I'm so glad to have you here, Charlotte. It's been brilliant. I just wanted to touch a little bit on when you did your education. So you became an educator. Obviously, you've got your own brand of tapes. How did you find the approval process? Where did you go from the start?
Yeah, so for me, for us to sell an education course, it always had to be HABIA approved. Like I didn't want to just sell like a course that had no recognition. I wanted it to be the best of the best education. So I actually qualified as an award in education and training, which I actually had time to do over COVID times. It was probably just a bit before COVID when I started that. So I wanted the best knowledge to support anybody that wanted to book on my course. So with HABIA approval, we can't teach anyone that's not a level MVQ qualified hairdresser or working towards it in their apprentice.
Is that level 2 with HABIA?
Yeah, level 2. So with the HABIA approval, it's so intense. You don't just get handed a HABIA approval the same way you do like an ABT qualification for your training. You know, we have to provide intense lesson plans. There has to be a quiz of knowledge, like a qualification has to be given. They have to pass that quiz and that knowledge. And in that quiz and knowledge, you know, we cover hair scenarios where you're not suitable for tape hair extensions. We cover dermatitis and head lice and alopecia. So, you know, we really go deep in the theory. It's not just about learning the application, it's spotting problems. That's going to save you in someone suing you and your insurance and stuff. And with the HABIA approval, you have to update that every single year. They could even just turn up on one of your courses and spot you out, and, you know, they want to watch it. They want to make sure that you are worthy of that recognition. So
keeps you on your toes.
It keeps you on your toes. And we are so proud to be HABIA approved. Like we work so hard for that. And I do believe we offer a real high quality tape hair extension course at North Hair.
So how long did that take to get approved?
Oh, I think we were back and forth with that for a good 6 months. Yeah, It was a lot of paperwork and providing the lesson plans and a lot of written work and just designing everything that needed to be sent out to the students prior to their coming to the course, and down to designing the qualification, you know, handing the nice certificate at the end. It was a long process, but worth every investment.
Yeah, absolutely. And would you say, you know, you've got quite a lot of students under your belt now, and they've all qualified and they're doing the thing. Would you say you've still got good relationships with those students?
Oh, absolutely.
Do they all come back to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I love seeing them do really well. So a lot of my students have gone on to be thriving tape hair extension specialists. And when I see their orders come through on the system, I think they are absolutely smashing it. And I'm so proud of them that they're making good money, because I do believe that tape hair extensions are the most profitable service any hairdresser can offer. So whether you're charging £300 to £500 for a colour, tape hair extensions are still more profitable because they're so quick to apply. And they're 100% profit, plus you make your extra profit on the selling of the hair to your customer. So when I see my students thrive and take on this stress-free service, because there's nothing like colour stress in the industry. And, you know, you're adding hair to someone who's lacking confidence that all they've ever wanted is extra hair. So the outcome is always going to be 100% positive. You know, it's really hard to get a bad experience with hair extensions if you are educated to the correct standards. So,
absolutely. It's so important, isn't it? So, Charlotte, talk to me. You're a brand owner, you're a salon owner, you're a educator, and you're a mum. How on earth do you fit all that
in? I actually don't know myself. It is hard, dedication, passion, for everything, all areas. So my mum is amazing. Without my mum, I wouldn't be able to do anything. Obviously, she looks after my 6-month-old baby. She does my housework. Like, I'll go home after here and my house will be clean, or my washing will be done. I'm like, Mum, how do you do it? Because when I'm at home, all I can do is breastfeed my baby and watch TV. I can't get anything else done. So yeah, my mum's amazing. Obviously, I've just got a really good support network. My husband's amazing. I've got really good girls at the salon. Like, my employees don't cause me any issues whatsoever. They know what they're there to do. They just get on with it. And yeah, I just feel like I'm very, very lucky with the people around me. And if you've not got a village around you, you could not run 2 businesses and be a mum of 3 kids and look after yourself as well. So it takes a village. It does take a village, but yeah, I work hard. I work a lot of hours a week.
I'm dead lucky as well. I've got my mum. My mum comes into work. She's 73 and she comes in, she does stuff in the warehouse for us and, you know, does packaging of products and, you know, how on earth would we ever cope without them?
I know.
Because they're amazing, aren't they?
They're so amazing. And I say to my mum, you're still going to have to do this for my kids because I'm going to be too busy still to look after my kids' kids. So this is a job for life.
Oh, full-time employment, isn't it? So if we start touching on education, so I know education's really is something you're really passionate about. How did you get into that? When did you start doing your education?
So with education, I started teaching colour first. And what happened for me is I just nailed balayage before it was a thing. And balayage was like coming to the UK and people were talking about it. But I already had quite a good presence on Instagram for my colour work. And I just loved, I created my own balayage technique, basically. It was freehand. It was before kind of you had big names doing balayage courses. And I was already teaching balayage for lots of people I knew in the industry. I've always had loads of friends in the industry, which is just amazing. Yeah. And they all support me all the time with with courses. Yeah, it's so important. And so, yeah, loads of my friends in the industry were booking on my colour courses. So that's how I started educating. And then I obviously set up North Tape Hair Extensions and started educating tape hair extensions for North. I don't really educate colour anymore because the market is just so saturated. And I just feel like you can pick up, if you've got good basic colour skills, you can pick up so much that you can add to that from YouTube and Instagram and things like that. And I do get a lot of messages all the time like, would you want a colour course again? But my true passion with education just lies with the hair extensions, really. I just see so much more value in that than teaching colour. Like, that's just where my passion is right now.
Do you remember how bad some of the balayages were?
Yes.
Do you remember some of those posts on Instagram? Horrific.
Yeah, but you know
lines everywhere and...
Yeah, lines everywhere, but like some of that was me, you know, like when I go on time hop.
We all started like that, didn't we? It was so difficult to get to know how to do that.
Well, when I go on time hop on Facebook and there's like a really bad colour that I've posted and that client still comes to me. I ping it in the group chat with all my girls now who are an amazing colourist. And I say, girls, like, this was my work like 10 years ago. Yeah. That client still comes to us, you know, growth is everything. Yeah. And just like times change, like that client obviously loved the hair then because that was what was in fashion and on trend. And it's evolved so much from like a dip dye to a little bit more ombre to then balayage to freehand to like subtle and blended. So I think you've just got to evolve. You've always got to learn and evolve with education. Yeah,
definitely. It's so important, isn't it? So when you do your education, where do you do it? Do you do it in your salon?
Yes. So I teach in my salon and I teach really small classes. So six students max for me. I just feel like if they need my time and attention, which of course they do. They're paying to come. They deserve to have that. And if there was any more than that, it wouldn't be as valuable as what we offer. So I would, training would really expand for us and could really take off. And I would never want to be in a room teaching 30 people tape hair extensions. Like, how can you do that when there's one of you? Yeah. So it's just from past experience when I've been on courses, I think it's got to be hands-on, it's got to be valuable, and you've got to be there to help people and support them and guide them for them to go off and be successful in what they do.
So have you been on those courses? Have you been on those where there's a room full of people, there's one educator?
Yeah.
Not much experience behind them?
Yeah, not much experience behind them. And when I learned hair extensions, it was in a hotel, a meeting boardroom type thing, was sat at a desk at a table with a doll's head. We were given, 3 individuals to learn a full head of micro rings and 3 bonds and, 4 centimetre piece of a weft that you were learning to sew in. And you handed your certificate and then you've got to go and do a full head on your own and things like that. So you wasn't taught removal or anything like that. So it's so important for me that people come on my course. And so I only teach one method, so tape hair extensions, and it's a 6-hour day. It's 10 till 3:30, and we cover everything from application, removal, consultation, colour match, tips and tricks, like people go on holiday, how do you deal with problems, how to recolour the hair, how to cut and blend it. And then we also do a half-an-hour session at the end on like how much money you're going to make, like profit and pricing. And that's the
so
real
important.
That's what people want to know. What's the point in investing in your education if it's just another service that isn't going to make you any money? I want people to come on my course and then specialise in tapes and like be successful with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we go back a little bit and you went into that hotel room and there was all those other people there, and you didn't really learn what you should have been learning because you didn't have the in-depth detail in the education that you were getting. Was there any support after that? Because obviously, if you're trying to learn all those methods all in one day, and you're never going to be able to do it all, you're never going to know it, and you're going to come out of there feeling really inexperienced and probably a little bit inadequate because you can't do it. Was there any feedback then? Was there any sort of support for you to go back and say, look, I'm here, I'm doing this client, I don't know what I'm doing, can you help?
Yeah, no, absolutely nothing. I was just thrown in the deep end, and I'm quite a creative person and quite a confident person in the industry. So I trial and error, basically. I got my models in, ordered the hair, did the fitting, and learn from mistakes. And I think sometimes it is the best way to learn, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there was no aftercare support, whereas my students can reach me on Instagram. To be fair, they never do, because I've trained them that well that they're actually really confident and never really need much help. If anything, my students reach out and they send me their work and how proud they are.
That's
and
amazing.
How amazing, like their client like hug them and like give the client all that confidence, and they're just.
And that's why we do it, isn't
it?
It's getting that that acknowledgement that you've done a really good job and you've made somebody feel amazing. So it's so important. I think the scary thing for me is, it's still going on that. There's still hotel rooms full of people with one educator.
Yeah.
And, how do we stop that? What do we do about that?
It's so hard because like the course I offer with North Professional Hair, it's so affordable. Like that was a big thing for me, like making it affordable, because obviously the goal for us is great education, but to have a long-standing customer buying our hair from us. And it's really difficult that people are opting to choose. Maybe they see more value in paying more and learning 4 methods, but actually you're not really learning a quality of a method. And I think learning in depth one method is more giving you more quality than learning 4 or 5 methods in a 6-hour or a 4-hour course in a hotel room. I think the equipment as well, a lot of people on these courses, and whether it's in a hotel room or it's in a salon, and they're not educated to educate, and it's just quick cash for them. They're purchasing their kits from Alibaba, they're not buying tools from the likes of yourself or the likes of North, like they're not, because they want to make more money, and it's easy money for them, isn't it? And you find on a lot of these courses, even if it's in a salon, they're only training one person that day, but they're getting £500. It's a lot of money for that self-employed individual to earn.
Absolutely.
On that day. And it's great if they're a great educator, then all for it. But there is a lot of it going on. And we need people to invest more in brands, I think, and in branded education.
Yeah, definitely. So when you think about, all the things that you've done and you've achieved so much in such a short space of time, what would you say is the biggest lesson? What was the biggest thing that hit you that you've had to deal with that you've learned so much from?
I would probably say of my salon.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
That was like the toughest journey I've ever been on in my entire life. And I think,
when did you do that, Charlotte? How recent is it?
so we would have had the building 3 years in March. It took 1.5 years to renovate. We've been open 1.5 years, so it's still very fresh in the mind. The trauma. But yeah, no, it was just, it all felt very exciting. It felt like a massive goal achieved, that I'd bought a building. Like, I would never have aspired to do that, and that felt amazing. And having the salon designed, and I posted the CAD drawings on Instagram because I was so excited.
I remember that. It just went mental, didn't it? It looked stunning as well.
And it looked stunning, but then to stand in an empty shell with no money left, and you've advertised that. Like, what are we going to do? And my husband was saying, yeah, but Charlotte, it doesn't have to look like that. And I'm like, you have no idea. If that salon doesn't look like that, I ain't going. No. I'm not doing it. Like, that is the goal. Then. Like, that has to be the way it looks. So, there was loads of pressure from like my family. Just put some mirrors on the wall, just take your stuff from the old salon and put it on the wall and get open. And I had a vision, and I am very strong-minded, that when I'm doing something, I'm doing it right. Do you know what I mean? And so that was the toughest thing in my whole career that I've ever done. And I wouldn't say don't do it, but I just think it needs planning and organising, and financial stress is like one of the biggest things that can really send you under. So running a renovation, running a salon, being pregnant at the same time, and trying to earn money to fund it and pay your staff's wages and pay your own mortgage at home and everything else was really difficult. Tough, didn't come easy. So tough. And I think a lot of people look at you and aspire to you and think, oh, she's got this gorgeous salon. But we bloody worked for it, and we're still working for it now. It's going to be a couple of years before we're out of the woods with that.
I watched the journey from you first putting that CAD drawing on right the way through on your socials. I was so proud of you when you got in.
Thank you.
Because it's absolutely stunning. It's breathtaking for anybody that wants to have a look. What's your Instagram handle for that?
It's at hair_by_Charlotte.
Okay. Because it is stunning. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, and it was really nice because we got it featured in loads of magazines and stuff. So when I actually stood there and it was finished, I did not breathe for a year. So, and it's like when you're doing people's hair, and my clients were so excited. My clients are so supportive. Like, I have a really big repeat clientele, so massive relationships with my clients. They're all amazing. But doing the hair weekly and monthly and 6 weekly, and when you're moving in the new salon, and when you're moving salon, and you're having a breakdown at home every
pressure,
night.
Isn't it? It's added pressure.
So much pressure.
You don't need really, but
don't want to talk about the new salon today. And you repeat that conversation constantly. But yeah, when I finally stood in there and it was finished, I was so proud of myself for achieving that, and just a better workspace for my team, because they all deserve that. We were so crammed in the old salon. It was such a stressful environment because we were so busy and it was so small. So we didn't have a staff room. So just the fact that my girls can sit down and eat the dinner, and they've got space, and they've got they've just got a nice workplace, makes me proud for them. Yeah,
absolutely. It's stunning. It's so beautiful. So what sort of advice would you give to aspiring hair extension specialists that want to open their own salon, or that even want to open a shed in the garden and make that into their own little salon? What sort of advice would you give them? Would you say yes, do it? Would you say absolutely not, hold off?
No, I would absolutely say do it, and just do it with some help. So for instance, when I got to a point where we'd run out of money and stuff, we used the Business Growth Hub, and they're amazing. There's so much, there's so much support out there that you don't know about. And I worked with a mentor there that helped us source funding and helped us do projected cash flows and profit margins and things like that. So there is advice and help out there if you haven't saved up and got the budget and things. And I think if you've got a clientele and you know you can make it work, then go for it. What I would say is don't just qualify in hair extensions and go and open a building. Like, you've got to build your business first. You've got to build your reputation and build a bit of clientele. And when you can really see that this is working for you, absolutely go and do that, and, you know, make your dreams come true, because everyone can get there in the end.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so important for people to get the pricing right. And if anybody's reaching out, I would definitely say the Growth Hub's a brilliant place to start, because they've helped us so much. They've been absolutely amazing with us at Hair Made Easy. So yeah, definitely 100% go and see the Growth Hub in your area, because they're brilliant up and down the country. I know so many business owners that have been involved with the Growth Hub that have helped them. It's such a brilliant place to start.
Yeah, I agree. And even like they can put your staff on courses in technology or accounts and payroll. You know, if you want to...
free courses.
Yeah, for free. And if you want to utilise your team, like, you know, times are tough in salons at the minute and people have got white space and empty columns. So, you know, if you want to get your staff to take on like a little bit more of the admin side for someone that is a business owner, just putting them through the Growth Hub gives them something to do and helps the business out. So I recommend it. Yeah,
definitely. 100% agree. So where do you see North going over the next couple of years? What's happening this year?
Yeah,
all the exciting.
So with North Professional Hair, like, I'm honestly so proud of where we've come with that brand. So it's our 5th year this year, and we've built North Professional Hair just on word of mouth and recommendation, which is just means so much to me, that the people in the industry are supporting like a dream come true. And just that, like, the community vibe is so amazing in the industry now. It never used to be like that. And like I say, I've just got so many friends in the industry that I really look up to that support us. So I'm hoping this is our best year yet with North. Obviously last year I was pregnant and had a baby, so we took a little bit of a backseat and it just ticked by and ticked over. Whereas I'm focusing on the brand this year. We've built our colour range now. We've got some really amazing colours that I've designed to be in Salon Life. So, you know, we've worked our root melt shades on actual base colours. So, you know, if it's a rooted blonde, it's a level 7. Yeah. If it's a rooted brunette, it's a level 6. So it really mimics the salon, because I feel like other brands like struggle to develop that colour knowledge.
If you've not had the colour background and you don't really know what to
do with the design. So we're really lucky that we've got that knowledge to help develop our colour range. So yeah, we are just hoping for lots of education, grow our Instagram and reach as many hairdressers and help them with education as possible, and hopefully to grow our accounts and more people get in touch with us and they want to supply North Professional Hair to their clients, really. Yeah. We want to lead the way in the tape hair extension industry this year.
And you're doing an amazing job. Absolutely love what you're doing. I love seeing what you're doing on your Instagram. I follow you all the time. It's really inspirational what you've achieved over the last few years, Charlotte. Thank you so much for talking to me today. I've loved it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having me.